Yo. I hope y'all are living well. So getting into it, I'm Sublime Prime. This is my channel. We go talk about my song Grief's Disease and this drawing I made the other day. So Grief's Disease is a song that was off my EP Back Forward, and it's really an encapsulating experience about grief in itself. And I was drawing this when I was thinking of it the other day, and so I'm gonna just take you through everything that's here. So first thing here I want to point out is there's this person, right? And this person is trying to go up this water, like a waterfall, and grabbing the rocks at the waterfall. Meanwhile, the water is rushing against them, right? And they have these green blinders on that keeps them focused on just moving against the water. And while they're doing that, you can see that, you know, they got green limbs, they got a blue torso, and there's a part of them that looks like it's like holding something, right? So where this comes in with grief is that grief is something that makes us, when we're not confronting it or giving it space and time to exist, we're trying to hyper focus on the things that we want in our head and want to get these tasks done, and we want to get these goals hit. And we're so hyper focused on getting here that we don't give any mind to what our heart actually wants, because we're so headstrong and letting that lead rather than just be a guide for your heart. And so what's happening here is the person is split between their mind and their heart, because their mind wants them to focus on this for whatever reason, whether it's to reach that goal or whether it's because they don't really want to focus on this, but their heart is still stuck in the past, holding on to previous experiences, and or right here what looks like some type of like object letter, right? The reason this is green, he has green arms and he has blue, is because the arms are representing that he's good, that he's okay. And the blue is really like representing the sadness that is felt in the body and felt in the heart. But because they are focused on what they're focused on, this almost just doesn't even exist. It's like it doesn't even matter to them. And one thing that I've learned from my experiences with grief and just giving a fuck and just caring a lot is that, like, grief is green because everything looks so good and it looks like everything's okay on the outside and on the surface. But in reality, everything isn't really good below the surface, right? Like, I'm always been like a positive person, someone that's like always gonna be like upbeat. I'm never gonna let anything beat me down, and it's just who I am. And one thing with that said though is like you would never know what I'm really experiencing at times unless you really asked. And so I, for so much time, was like going through so much grief, and I didn't even understand like what it really was. I just knew there was something there, and I was trying to make the time and space to find the words all the time. And so here we see a separation because the person is not paying attention to what's their heart needs, but they're rather focused on what their brain wants, which is their brain wants to get up this waterfall, even though it's kind of looking unrealistic, right? And here we see this body, this sadness is just holding on, like with chains. And it's chains because until you allow yourself to really feel what you need to feel and to accept the experiences that you've had, or accept the grief as well as other things, you end up chaining yourself to your experiences, and you let trauma control and rule your life and stop you from really reaching everything that you truly want, because you're too afraid to let go of it, and it hurts too bad to lose in that way. And so because of that, it becomes an incapacitating chain right here. And the reason, like we talked about earlier, how this body is green, right? It's not green anymore. Like, or this was a different shade of green, because it's to say that this person wanted to accept and wanted to move forward and focus on the goal they had in mind that looked good on